Davis, after throwing 40 through 3 scoreless frames to begin this night, back on the first base side for inning number 4. He'll attack 2, 3, and 4 in this YD lineup, the first of which Nico Horner, the Stanford Cardinals second baseman, looking at a first pitch breaking ball for strike 1. Horner 0 for 1 so far in this ball game. He grounded out to the shortstop first inning. The 0-1 misses outside, a slider that slid opponents. 1-1 now on Horner. Nico wearing number 4 on his back, a 320 average coming into this game. That's dipped just a bit. A very productive Stanford Cardinals second baseman is Horner. He grounds the 1-1 to Cotuit, who ranges over, spins, but cannot, because that ball trickled out onto the second base. It's a single for Nico Horner, who placed that first for Carlos Cortez.
No hitter tonight, Will Greer. First base hit of the night for the Red Sox is a rather inauspicious one, as that ball wasn't hit too hard. Looked like off the end of the bat for McKenna, but it had some eyes to it, and it snuck past the pitcher's mound, past the second base bag, eventually into Zach Cohn's glove, but too late for the throw.
It's amazing that Cohn even fielded that ground ball. He was so far over from his position in the 6 hole. Again, showing good range, but with the speedy Horner running down the first baseline, just no chance to retire Horner. A pick up. What a pick. It's the first one we've seen all season, Matt. But he had Horner leaning down, easily retires the Stanford Cardinal for.
There's a very rapid move to first base there. You only really see that from a lefty typically. Noah Davis obviously a righty, but he snapped over and then whipped an even quicker throw in time to get Horner leaning, as you said.
First pitch into Cortez, breaking ball, strike 1. Cortez back first. Really nice defensive play as well for Cortez. As the 0-1 misses outside, it's 1-1.
It's not as though Nico Horner shouldn't have expected a pickoff attempt as well, because he's got 4 steals this year already up here on the Cape.
He almost got his hand back to the first base bag. As the 1-1, Scott fielder Ginesta, it's played in straightaway center. He camps out under it and gloves it for out number 2. There was a bit Horner before the tag was eventually applied.
Looked like Horner tried to pull his left hand back as Tolia was trying to apply the tag to his left hand. The problem with that for Horner, that play will work if your right hand is close enough to touch the bag in exchange, but Horner's right hand was nowhere close either. So Tolia essentially just said, "Come to me, Mr. Horner," and Horner eventually had to. Tolia was waiting there for the tag, and I believe he applied it on his chest.
First pitch swinging is Nick Quintana. Had a good first pitch fastball for strike 1. It's almost like, to be totally creepy about this, Matt, walking down a dark to a dead, and you just can't go anywhere. There's no way to escape. Tolia was that guy. Quintana looks at an 0-1 breaking ball that gets the outside corner. It's 0-2.
Well, to relate this back to sports, not to make this play that was rather mundane a bit too long-winded, but I haven't mentioned on the broadcast yet, I played a lot of football, played a couple years of college football, and I played corner. And when you're pressing as a corner, you're taught to wait for the man at the wide receiver position to come to you. That's essentially what Tolia did right there. Make him make the first move, and then you apply the tag.
Thank you for making a 2. Fastball skips into the mid of Thomas Dillard low. It's 1-2.
It's one of those, the first man to blink loses things. The problem if you're Nico Horner, and the advantage if you're Michael Tolia, is that Horner essentially has to blink first there.
The 1-2 kick into left. Quintana. Kinnaman camps in. 2 straight fly. Cortez and Quintana. We're through 3.5. Still 2-1 on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. 3-4. Who shot? And there's one.
I was looking at Nick Calhoun, who is the first base coach for the Kettleers, and immediately after that play ended, Calhoun motioned with his right hand as if he was pushing something, and I believe that motion was to indicate to Mike Roberts, who's in the third base coach's box for the Kettleers, that the first baseman Rivas was off the bag when he eventually received the ball, and indeed Mike Roberts is going over for a chat with first base umpire David Chazon, and now the umpires are going to get together all together, or as an entire triumvirate, to try and figure this out.
Yeah, whatever. You're looking. If he comes. And on such a big first pitch. Who?
The problem is, even if Chazon was looking at the glove of Rivas, if he was doing so from behind the play, which obviously he was, and if he could not see any of the webbing of Rivas's glove, then he wouldn't have seen what really happened on that play. I just popped up from my chair and went to the replay monitor just behind us here in the Lowell Park press box. And I noticed, or it was pointed out to me, that what happened to Rivas there was that ball was initially in his glove, and then it popped out, and he had to re-catch it. Juggled it around a little bit, and when he was juggling it, as the 1-0 pitch, or the 0-1 pitch misses low 1-1, when he was juggling it, that's when the runner at first, busting it down the line, Cresto, touched the bag, but Chazon couldn't see.
The one. Between one. Back at just 3 hits these two teams as well as.
All right, well, thank you very much. This game's only an hour old. The last time I checked in on the time in a quick-moving game, though, and gave you even the pace that we were on, we ended up playing 2 hours and 46 minutes on Monday in Chatham, so I'll save everyone the trouble of that tonight, and instead just tell you that the 3 scheduled hitters for the Red Sox here in the top of the 5th with the score still 0-0 are Kyle Isbell, Alfonso Rivas, And Luke Miller, lefty, lefty, righty, and the first pitch to Isbell misses low and in out of the right hand of Noah Davis. And it's 1-0, 84 on that slider that went down and in from Davis. Isbell 0 for 1, popped out to second, his first time up, back in the second. As the dogs begin to bark here at Lowell Park, the 1-0, grounded towards first. Tolio with a nice pick on a low hop, spins and fires to Davis, covering 9 times as Davis fell off the bag, and Isbell is safe.
We'll see how the phenomenal play at the beginning from Michael Tolia. It is scored an infield single for Isbell. Tolia, despite had a really nice goal first base for the Kettleers.
We mentioned this is first time up. Kyle Isbell is one of the speediest men up here on the Cape this summer. He was 5th in the NCAA in triples his freshman year. He's tied for 2nd in the Cape League in stolen bases so far this year, and his speed definitely played a factor in that play, as he's now on as the leadoff base runner, a threat to run. First pitch to the man standing in now. Rivas is a strike on the inside corner at the belt, 0-1. Rivas so far tonight 0 for 1. He grounded out to first, with the pitcher Davis covering back in the second to end that frame. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for both sides. Some symmetry in the line score tonight, at least to this point. Spinning a pickoff throw over from Davis, but sliding back in is Isbell. And everyone will reset before the 0-1. The cat and mouse game should be pretty fun here. Isbell, a capable base stealer, but Noah Davis, as we've already seen in the last half inning, has a capable move to first base. He picked off Nico Horner in that top of the third rather. Another throw over, and again Isbell dives back in.
Looks like Davis might alter his pickup, which is really a crafty move. Sometimes throwing over a little bit more slowly so Isbell can't time him up.
The 0-1 to the plate, fouled back off the screen by Rivas, and it's 0-2. And that again is part of that cat and mouse game. Altering your times to the plate, altering your deliveries, and altering your style of pickoff move. Usually you don't see that from really young pitchers who have really good stuff, because they don't have a lot of base runners that they have to negotiate in the early parts of their career. Something that young major league pitchers still have to work on their first 2 years in the bigs. 0-2 pitch misses low and in. Another slider in Isbell, and Rivas lays off, and it's 1-2.
The option here with altering pickoff attempts, altering pickoff moves, is that you're going to balk at some point because you can't keep everything straight in your head. But Noah Davis, a very cerebral guy.
Another pickoff attempt. That was a whipping pickoff attempt, but back in time again was Isbell with a slide. And again, we'll have a 1-2. If nothing else, Davis has kept Isbell close. That was a very short slide there from Isbell. And watching him at first, he's taking a pretty minute lead. The 1-2 to the plate. Isbell runs, pitches smoke to the right center field gap, and then hit down, splitting the outfielders. Isbell rounds second. He'll go to third. Genista cuts it off and fires back into the cutoff man Alexander, but it's a successful 2-strike hit and run off the bat of Alfonso Rivas. And the Red Sox have the table set with runners on the corners and nobody out here in the top of the 5th.
And inside Rivas, your first round draft pick, just whipping the bat through the zone. That pitch very much was able to extend the bat on that to the pull side, right center field.
You make a really good point, Will. I think one of the reasons that hit and run success is even more impressive for Rivas and the Red Sox as Mike Roberts trots out to the mound. Looks like he's going to make a pitching change. One of the reasons it's even more impressive is that usually on that play you want to spray it to the right side if you're the man in the box, because ideally or theoretically the middle infield is going to be moving over towards their right to cover the second base back, or the second baseman's going to be moving over towards his right. But in order to do that, you usually have to have an outer half of the plate pitch. That pitch was well inside to Rivas, and he still, as you said, got the hands out in front and delivered an inside-out swing to complete the hit and run and make it first and third with nobody out. Mike Roberts, not Mike Rivas, still talking on the mound with Noah Davis. And now home plate umpire Rudy Fernbach's going to go out and break this powwow up, as the entire infield has gathered to talk with Coach Roberts on the mound. And Noah Davis, it looks like, is going to stay in this game as he climbs back onto the rubber And the 5 other infielders depart with Mike Roberts headed back to the dugout.
Looks like the Cotuit bullpen down the third baseline, and it is Jace Van Senne, as I'm seeing his number 46 now. You'd imagine if Luke Miller is able to reach here, the day will be done for Noah Davis, but perhaps he can get a double play.
No matter what happens, a show of confidence here from Mike Roberts to allow Davis to at least attempt to pitch out of this jam. First pitch to Luke Miller, misses low and away, 1-0.
I can't tell if it's 6 or an 8, so it could be either one of those guys. But a tall right is warm in the Cotuit bullpen, it looks like.
We haven't seen Van Senne in a while. We saw Kemp a couple nights ago. I'd lean towards the former. The 1-0 pitch, a chopper foul up the third baseline, and it's 1-1. Only the second real threat in this game for either side. Cotuit back in the bottom of the second had their first 3 men reach base. But Chandler Avant was gunned out trying to stretch a single into a double by the left fielder Cortez as the 1-1 misses low to Luke Miller. It's 2-1. And then with 2 on and 1 out, Luke Alexander struck out swinging, and Michael Tolia lined out to center on a sharply hit ball that was run down by the center fielder McKenna. The 2-1, that tails way low and outside to Luke Miller. And now he's in a hitter's count and in the driver's seat, 3-1. Like Davis tried to overthrow a fastball there at 91 miles an hour. Now we'll see if he comes right after Miller and gives him something to hit. The kick in the 3-1. There's another fastball and another overthrow as that one again missed low and away. It's ball 4, and the Red Sox have the bases loaded with nobody out here in the top of the 5th. Got to figure that will be the end of the line for Noah Davis. It will indeed. Mike Roberts is out of the dugout. He gives him one more batter, but Noah Davis issues a 5-pitch walk, and whoever the new pitcher is for the Kettleers, he's going to come into quite a bit of a jam here in the top of the 5th with the bases loaded and nobody out. We'll take a break and come right back with the statistical and biographical info on that new pitcher for the Kettleers. YD threatening here in the top of the 5th. Still no score for now on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Jace Van Senne, the new Kettleer pitcher. Matt Rigby and Will Greer, still the Kettleer broadcasters with you here on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Van Senne comes into a hot spot with the bases loaded and nobody out in the top of the 5th. The first real threat of the game comes here in the top of the 5th with Van Senna coming on in relief of Noah Davis. Van Senna making his 4th appearance of the year. So far this year, Van Senna has thrown 6 1/3 innings. He struck out 5, walked 1, and has allowed 3 hits. A 1-0 record and a 1.42 ERA. We last saw Jace Van Senna on Tuesday against the Bourne Braves when he went an inning and a third. Did not give up a run or a hit, walked 1 and struck out 1, did not factor into the decision. Van Senna picked up the win on opening night for the Kettleers. Gonna have to do some yeoman's work to get out of this inning unscathed. First pitch to the batter now standing in for the Red Sox, Connor Kaiser, misses upstairs at 89 miles an hour, and it's 1-0. So far in this inning, an infield single on a little bleeder from Isbell. A single on a hit and run to right field by Rivas. And a 5-pitch walk for Miller have loaded the bases. The 1-0 pitch to Kaiser, check swing, and the ball misses upstairs as Rudy Firmbach decides that Kaiser did not go around. No appeal down to either of the bases as well. Tolia in at first. Everybody else at normal depth along the left side of the infield. The 2-0 to Kaiser. Another check swing. This one is a breaking ball for a strike. 91 miles an hour. Might have been a fastball with a little bit of two-seam movement there from Van Senna, and it's 2-1. Adam Scott is with us in the press box. We'll wait till the waters calm a bit here in the top of the 5th before we talk to Adam. The 2-1 pitch, and that misses up and in to Connor Kaiser. It's 3-1. 91 there on that fastball from Van Senna, who's now in danger of walking in the game's first run. Van Senna gets the sign, the kick in the 3-1. Breaking ball that misses just high, says Rudy Firmbach. Ball 4, and it's 1-0 Red Sox. Wrong time for the strike zone to get a little bit tight there for Rudy Firmbach. As now the first 4 men have reached in this top of the 5th for YD. And Mike Casala, the 9-hitter, comes to the plate. Infield will come in the rest of the way around now here for the Kettleers. And the first pitch to Casala. Good fastball for a strike at 92 at the belt, and it's 0-1. Mentioned that the Kettleers have had only really one rally of their own in this game, as Casala calls time and is awarded time by Mr. Firmbach behind the plate. This is the first YD rally of the game, and it's incumbent upon Van Senna to put the brakes on it right here. The 0-1 lifted towards the right side, fading fast, and that'll get foul out of play. It's 0-2. Casala looked a little bit late on that fastball from Van Senna. 2 straight fastballs to get Van Senna into a favorable count, and we'll see what he goes to here. Casala so far without an at-bat. He does have 1 plate appearance, walked back in the 3rd as the first base runner of the game for the Red Sox. Van Senna with the sign, the 0-2. Breaking ball served towards the pitcher's mound. Van Senna to home plate for 1, and Dillard with a relay throw on to first in time. Great job. 2 straight fastballs. He pulls the hook on Mike Casala, has him fooled, and it's 1-2 to 3 for the first 2 outs of the inning here in the top of the 5th.
It's one of the more routine 1-2-3 D-man. Van Senna coming right off of the mound. That ground ball hit right back. He barely had to move that time. Threw a strike to Dillard, then threw a strike to Tolia to complete the double play.
Kaiser moves up 90 feet to second, Miller to third. It's still 1-0, and now the lineup card turns over for Alex McKenna. McKenna 0 for 2 so far tonight. Struck out swinging in the first, grounded out to the catcher Dillard in the third. First pitch, good block by Dillard on a breaking ball that missed well low and outside. And Dillard gets in front of it to keep the runners put. It's 1-0. Jace Van Senna looking to limit the damage to 1 run here in the top of the 5th. Gets the sign from Dillard. And now the 1-0 pitch. And that hits the bat, I thought, of McKenna. But Rudy Fernbach going to say that pitch ran in and hit McKenna on the hands and that it's a hit batsman. You could hear it hit the bat there. And the way it kicked off of what I felt was the handle of the bat up the first baseline, I figured it was a foul ball. But Rudy Fernbach says hit batsman all the way. And now the bases are loaded once again with 2 outs, and Nico Horner the batter.
And it eventually matched the right. I don't think I've ever seen that. The guy who was theoretically hit. The catcher Dillard now in some serious pain, it looks like, trying to shake it off. Around the right fingers is what looks like the problem seems to be for Thomas Dillard right now.
Chris Moody, the Kettleers athletic trainer, still checking out Thomas Dillard. Probably asking Mr. Dillard to squeeze his own hand and make sure that the fingers and the digits are all still intact for Dillard. The batter will be Nico Horner when this conference with Mr. Moody and Mr. Dillard comes to a close. The catcher on the bench tonight, serving in a backup role for the first time in 3 nights for the Kettleers, is Gian Martellini. And no other catchers that we know of available for the Kettleers. But it looks like Dillard, who's throwing the ball back to Jace Van Senna, is going to at least try to stay in this game. He is indeed. Chris Moody takes the stroll back to the Kettleer dugout, and Dillard pops back into the crouch.
Should be good defensively right now. Dillard due up 4th in the next half inning. We'll see if he's able to bat. Still doesn't appear to be completely comfortable out there.
So now the first pitch to Nico Horner. Fastball for a strike at 88 miles an hour on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Horner entered play tonight with 5 at-bats with runners in scoring position. 2 for 5 so far on the young season. 4 driven in and 1 long ball. Looking to cash in a pair here or more. The 0-1, breaking ball that misses low. And Horner spits on it. It's 1-1. To reset, the runner at third is Miller. Kaiser at second as the 1-1 pitch is lifted towards the right side. Tolia giving chase. He's got room, and he makes the catch in foul ground to retire the side. All things told, what a job Van Senna. He comes in with the bases loaded and nobody out. He walks the first batter he faces, but then gets a double play. And a foul ball fly out towards the first base side to get out of the inning, allowing just 1 run. In that half inning for YD, 1 run on 2 hits, 2 walks, no errors, and they leave him loaded. We'll move to the 1-0 Red Sox on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby and Will Greer, joined alongside a special guest, Adam Scott, to Kettleers Video Network. We're back at Lowell Park as we're halfway home with the score 1-0 YD on this beautiful Saturday evening in Cotuit. YD with 1 run in their half of the 5th. Could have been a lot more, though, and now John Rooney back onto the mound. And the first pitch of the bottom of the 5th runs up and in and hits Brett Kinnaman on the right shoulder, and it's a hit batsman to give the Kettleers a leadoff base runner to bring up Alexander as well. Adam, welcome to the broadcast. You had a great outing in relief last night. Bet you didn't think you'd be on in that game in the first inning, but you ultimately go 4 2/3. You give up 3 hits, no earned runs, strike out 4 and walk 1. You earn the win. And you're really the only reason the Kettleers were able to battle back. What was working for you last night?
Obviously, you're right. I definitely wasn't expecting to go in that early. A lot of times, sometimes, that's just how the baseball game goes. But, just got to make sure I stay in ready. Everything felt pretty good, both all my off speed and my fastball. I was able to at least, I came in with, I think, 6 straight changeups. I was lucky enough to have a good feel for it out of the pen early, which got me out of that. Got the first batter out and then continued to just, stick to my strengths and mix things up and got some weak contact and was able to continue to work on after that.
Sacrifice bunt by Luke Alexander moves Brett Kinnaman over into scoring position and brings up Michael Tolia. Now, you're typically a strikeout pitcher. Your strikeout numbers are pretty prolific at Wofford this year. First pitch to Tolia misses low and in 1-0. But he had only 4 of them last night. Is it something up here that you're trying to get away from? Are you trying to pitch to contact a little bit more, or are you doing the same thing that you did all year in school?
Not necessarily. I think a lot of it more is just the situations that I've been in. Back at school, I've started the entire year. And as a starter, I can have a little bit of a different mindset than as a reliever. Just as a reliever, the situations I've come in, they haven't necessarily called for as many strikeouts. It's been more of, just try and get weak contact, miss a barrel, let the defense do their work, and get us back in as soon as possible. So it's kind of tough at times to make sure I go for a strikeout. So I'm just trying to get all my stuff in the zone, trust it, and hope I get a good result from it.
Now, are you planning, or is Mike Roberts, I guess I should phrase it, planning on using you as a starter at any point as the summer goes along?
Yeah, he actually did tell me that I'll be starting on Thursday's game. I think it's at Hyannis. I'll be moving into the starting rotation. Obviously, at this league we got a bunch of arms that are willing and able to do that. So I appreciate that chance, and I got to make sure I go out and do my job in order to stay there.
Meanwhile, the count now on Michael Tolia is 1-2. Runner at second. 1 out in a 1-0 Red Sox lead here in the bottom of the 5th. Kettleers looking to tie it up, and John Rooney steps off.
I've started all 3 years at Wofford so far, but on my bullpen days, like midweek, I have come out during our midweek games. So I've come out of the bullpen. I did not do anything like that at all this year. So the last time was my sophomore year.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, again, baseball's baseball, pitching is pitching. Situation is a little bit different, but I've been around the game long enough now, seen a lot of my teammates, learn from them, tried to pay attention even when I'm not in the game and stay locked in there, just be able to prepare me for those kind of situations.
Michael Tolia does strike out swinging, so they're now 2 away. And Thomas Dillard is going to be pinch hit for. I'm guessing that hand probably went and swole up a little bit in the dugout in between innings. So Gian Martellini's going to be the batter in the 9-hole. The first pitch to Martellini misses inside, 1-0. Now, you had a 17 strikeout game earlier this season. Struck out 17 Pitt Panthers in an 8 1/3 innings pitched. Do you remember anything about that game, or was it an out-of-body experience altogether?
Depends on the at-bat. That was definitely one of the most rewarding outings I've ever had. Just be able, but at the end of the day, to look back and say that I did that is something. Pretty humbling to be able to have that chance. But there are definitely times out there I don't even remember. I just felt good, felt locked in, just tried to stay. It's kind of cliche, but literally just tried to stay pitch to pitch. So, and the final result ended up coming with it. But I couldn't necessarily tell you. I'm normally pretty good about telling you. There are some blurred ones there for sure.
I would just say, as the 2-0 pitch skips to the backstop, and moving up 90 feet is Brett Kinnaman to third base. It's 3-0 now on Martellini. If I would say that you remember all the batters that were in strikeouts.
Yeah, right.
The ones that kept you from 20, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I never even thought of that.
And to do
so it was on a Friday. It was early on. We played tournaments at a time, so it's not a weekend series. But it was on a Friday night.
and again,
It was it was rewarding for sure. I mean, we come in knowing their conference has got a good history and all that, and they're a good team there. But just be able to have the stuff working, them hopefully not knowing as much about me, and being able to do my job was pretty fun.
John Martellini draws a walk, and we've got a trip out to the mound to have a chat with John Rooney from the YD pitching coach. Kettleers will have the go-ahead run on base now with Griffin Conine coming to the plate. First and third, and 2 outs for the leadoff hitter for the Kettleers. Now, one of the things we wondered, Adam, Will and I, when we were looking at some of your numbers coming into the season, some of your college numbers, you do strike out a lot of guys, but you give up a lot of contact as well. Is that something that you're trying to improve on up here? Is that something that just comes with filling up the zone as much as you do, that every now and then you're going to give up some hits along with the strikeouts?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a combination of both. Definitely am trying to make sure I can beat more people in the zone, but I don't want to lose, what I kind of build my pride off of and build what I consider myself as a strike thrower. I don't want to lose that ability. I think more than anything else, through Coach Roberts here, I need to learn more of picking my times when to try and get a ball through the zone or get a swing and miss, as opposed to just constantly trying to just fill up the zone. Because I do try and throw sometimes too many strikes that I lose quality strikes. I just kind of throw them in there that are pretty easy to hit. So that definitely is, it, again, comes back to kind of situational when to pick the time to just light up the zone, or other times to try and get a swing and miss when I need to.
1-0 now to count on Conine after a throw over to check in on Martellini. That was a little closer than Gian would have liked. Now the 1-0 pitch to Griffin. Big swing and a miss at a 79-mile-an-hour breaking ball, and it's 1-1. Now, I did my homework before this interview. The Wofford athletics page, I guess, on your bio tells us that you're a big Bachelor fan. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What? You're in good company here.
Man, love that. Yeah, our team, we do some dumb stuff. I'm sure any college baseball team does. But we have a thing where we all, or a big group of us, get together and we actually watch The Bachelor. And on the first day, each person has to pick the person that they think is going to win. And we kind of make bets on it and have some good fun with it. So terrible. My girl is, I think, the second. The year before I came in second place, so I was feeling really high. I was like, yep, I always go for someone I think will try and sneak through. And it just backfired terribly this year. But
I don't know if this inning's going to be long. The 1-2 pitch to Conine, first to throw over. Will Greer, if I recall from last summer, has a little bit of a cheat sheet to be able to know who's going to win the Bachelor.
Will Greer?
Will Greer.
You.
Yeah.
Gonna need some of that. Bring it back. Hopefully none of my teammates hear this, but
The 1-2 smoke.
great swings. It's been one of those. He's been rocking. I'm surprised that he got a hold of one. He's actually, I'm pretty sure he's going in the home run derby competition. It doesn't surprise me one bit, and I mean he's a really, really talented ball player. So
Griffin Conine finished in the top 5 this year in the ACC in home runs.
Ooh.
And he went on quite a tear from the middle portion of the year on. He continues that tear up on the Cape. As the first pitch to Grayson Genista is a ball that misses up and away. He now has 2 home runs during this Cape League season, does Conine. And those 3 RBIs give him 10 on the season. 1-0 pitch, fastball for a strike to Genista, and it's 1-1. Those 10 RBIs, tops on the Kettleer roster. And the Kettleers are now in front.
From the statistical...
1-1 misses inside to Genista, 2-1. Now, I also did my homework in a more advanced way, I guess. We usually like to ask every pitcher that comes into the booth, Adam, who their favorite big league pitcher is, or who the pitcher that they model themselves after the most is. I believe the Wofford website, as Genista swings and misses at the 2-1, told me that you're a big Mariano Rivera fan. Is that correct?
Big fan.
Would that be the answer to that question for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've grown up a Yankees fan, so obviously those core 4 with Jeter, Posada, Pettit, and Rivera, all of those guys, I mean, you can flip a coin and, I'll pick one of them. But as pure pitchers between Mariano Rivera, to be able to throw one pitch and everyone knows it's coming and still never get hit is just incredible.
The dastardly cutter, I suppose, for Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
Grayson Jenister grounds out to second base to end the bottom of the fifth, but not before the Kettleers add 3 runs on the strength of just 1 hit. It was a prodigious home run to straightaway right center off the bat of Griffin Conine. And the Kettleers, after 5 innings, lead the Red Sox 3-1. Adam Scott, thank you very much for joining us for the first time this year on the Kettleers Radio Network. And I hope to wish you some good luck moving forward, especially in that start on Thursday against Hyannis.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
We move to the second Cotuit Kettleers Radio Network.
Thank you very much. You guys really did some over. I was not expecting that.
Thank you, man. You never know up here. Never know.
Keep that one to us, right?
Of course, 3-run home run.
What am I going to say?
Play Hickett to it.
Three to 1 Kettleers, thanks to a 3-run moonshot off the bat of Griffin Conine in the bottom of the 5th. Big thanks to Adam Scott for joining us in the bottom of the 5th and getting the best perch in the house for the Kettleers taking the lead. Back onto the mound, or onto the mound for the first time, I should say, in a Kettleers uniform all season is David Inman. He comes on with a lead for the first time all night for a Kettleer pitcher, and here to take you through innings 6 and 7, our broadcast partner, Will Greer.
Thank you. And he'll have a total 3, 4, and 5. Inman wearing number 29. Attended Florida State. He's headed to transferring from a JUCO, and Inman of the Northwoods League, a 3 and 19 strikeouts in 16 innings pitched. So he's had success and a pretty good in the entire. He clearly. He's here in beautiful Cotuit, Massachusetts.
I'm going to go ahead and venture a guess that was your Northwoods intel. I don't think you read that on the internet.
That's my Northwoods intel. You can't. It's from Indy. Number 29 on his uniform again. 6'1", 200. Again, heading to Cook. Attacking the center. At a first pitch fastball.
We saw a side armor last year when we were calling games for the Harwich Mariners. That kid is actually back this year. His name's Teddy Rodliff of Stony Brook.
The one.
And it gives me a perfect segue to continue that Rodliff story. I think Rodliff topped out at about 83 or 84 all summer long, but he had a very, very good summer from the left side with that sidearm delivery.
The 2 up.
It's a tale that stands the test of time in baseball history, but if you change your arm slot, you're just tough to pick up.
The 3. And it's 3-1 from Inman.
Harwich pitching coach Steve Gruenberg told us last summer about rod lift that the sidearm delivery probably adds 5-6 miles an hour of velocity.
The 3-1 for a smooth 82 miles. Really like 87 or 88 from Inman, and there's one goal for Nick Quintana. Saw up here for Bourne a couple nights ago, and he only threw around 84, 85 miles an hour, but he was really successful in 3+ innings for the Bourne Braves. See if Inman can be equally successful in outing number 1 of the summer. Quintana looks at a first pitch fastball, a breaking ball that misses well to go 1-0. Quintana, both of those coming against no. Quintana was just as the 1-0. Quintana with a big at a sinking 81. And it's 1-1. Quintana was at one point the Boston Red Sox as the 1-1 sinks right over the 83 miles. 2 decided to attend Arizona, and we mentioned this a couple. You missed that. The Knicks in 2012. The 1-2 from Inman, a slide 2. And since then, unfortunately for Mr. Zach Quintana, he's been cut by the Brewers organization as well as the Atlanta Braves organization. So Nick perhaps seeing that nothing's guaranteed, especially for a 3rd-round draft pick and his brother Zach. Nick opting to play his college ball. And there are 2 goals. Got it. And his back with 2 goals.
Inman's dangerously close to 3/4, too. He's not one of those side armors that comes from below the belt, and he's definitely not a knuckle scraper. But it's effective nonetheless.
First pitch into Isbell. 1-0. Kyle Isbell. Just the 1. As the 1-0 sinks over the outside. Isbell doesn't look up. Stepping into the left side. You'd have to imagine him in. And it with a very speedy 2 infield single. He's
Not sure that either of the infield singles for Isbell in this inning are a full product of his speed, however. I think he's just kind of hit it in the perfect spot his last 2 times at the plate. Living right tonight, as he's on base for the 2nd straight time.
Then it looked like he kind of didn't get or Tolia to make a throw. Alfonso Riva, first pitch fastball, and chops it fast. Line. We'll see if Isbell in 5. YD comes in leading the league with 20 stolen bases in just 26 attempts. Inman stares in. Martellini showing some kind of sign to Inman that time that the 2 need to go through the signals once again. Top 6, 3. As Inman comes. Who is easily to an impressive inning of his first appearance. And we're through 5. 3-1 on the Cotuit Kettleers. Back. John Rooney. 64 pitches through 5. He'll face 3, 4, and 5 to Atlanta. And Chandler of. You're just joining us tonight. This game was scored. Credit Jace Van Senna, who stranded the bases after. Van Senna with very nice work. In his first pitch swinging. After a 3 for 5. 0 for 2 to start. And he's at first for Zach. In the on the strength of Jeff. A 2 over the 1 to get Cotuit this 2-run lead. So come leaning now, but he's back in safely with a head first dive. Rooney appears to have quite enough. The Hofstra Pro. And if he fits, Cone he flew out the center fielder McKenna in the 4th. Again, 3-1. Cotuit trying to win their second on the summer. YD 6-1-1 as Cone shows. And now underhand to Reva. Successful sacrifice. And Cresto moves up to second with just 1 for Chandler. Cotuit came in with 7. And with the 2 in this one. Seems like every time Cotuit gets a lead on, the next batter is.
I just noticed that no spot in the batting order is immune either, Will, because the cleanup hitter, Zach Cone, just laid down a 1-3.
Who came in with the left. The batter of Rooney. It's 1-0. See that on a 9. Kettleers up 2 here in the 6th, but you know this YD offense plenty capable to strike back. The 1 chest protector of the catcher Kassan run. Shade beginning to creep on to the left. Partly cloudy. Temperature is just crept under 80 degrees on this Saturday evening. The hottest so far through 10. As Rooney checks the runner Cresto, now kicks and dips. Of Chandler of. He'll continue to walk. 6th. Kinnaman comes up. I think that's the 3rd hit.
Just going to say, it's not the safest night to be standing in the batter's box. 2 Kettleers have been hit now. Brett Kinnaman, who's the batter digging in as we speak. Chandler Avant, who just was hit. And then 1 Red Sox, Alex McKenna, was hit to reload the bases when Jace Van Senna was on in the top of the 5th.
Rooney hit 12 at Hofstra in just over 82 innings, so not uncharted. 2. Looks at a first pitch slide. Only misses high. It's 1-0. Kinnaman with no. He was hit by a pitch in the 5th. 2 for 4 night last night in Brookfield. A double triple for Kinnaman. As the 1-0 misses. No, it gets the lower half of the zone. A late strike call from Rudy Firmbach, and it's 1-1 on Kinnaman.
Of course, that first hit batsman for the Kettleers that came in the form of Brett Kinnaman ultimately came to matter, as Kinnaman scored the first run of this game thanks to the 3-run home run that Conine hit just behind him.
The 1. It's 1-2 now. We mentioned this a couple scoring those 3 runs in the on Jeff. Kinnaman hit by Gian Marcellini, coached a walk, and then Conine made John Rooney pay. Here's the one. Misses high. It's 2-2. We will take 4. Brewster and Chap about 13 minutes away from beginning at Veterans Field. Here's the 2-2. Nice block from the catcher, Casal. And the count has run full 3-2. Luke Alexander. Michael Toll still looking for his first hit of the summer in the hole. Krebs reached via lead. Rooney steps off and stares a first base bag. Not like Chandler can go with Cresto at second. Revive. Here's the 3-2. But a good call. First base. Kinnaman. And the last 2 to make. Got to imagine John Rooney's not. So Kinnaman dropped. Pickler kicking out. And looking down. Coming in for one. Making his way. He's going to be Tanner Green out of the wide. Bottom of the 6th inning of this one. And Cotuit with a 3-run. The one. 2 and score. And Luke Alexander coming 6th. The line. The lefty out of hot. I'll give to you. And he was scoring. Running into trouble. Here in the 6th. And he is responsible for Kinnaman at second. And so far, an inning and 2/3. He has not, despite 3. Again, Luke Alexander making his way to the right with Jeff. First pitch in from Grant. Keane make sure it didn't get into left. Why be fortunate?
Almost an automatic at this point that when the Kettleers have a runner on third with less than 2 outs, that the batter at the plate is at least going to show bunt once, if not twice. But something troubling, I think, on this play is starting to develop for the Kettleers. I'll wait for this 0-1 pitch or 1-0 pitch.
Here it is from 10. And it's 1-1.
The troubling note is this. It's obviously a safety squeeze type play, which means your runner on third base has to come down the line at least a little bit. But I think Mike Roberts is asking some guys to lay down bunts here who aren't accustomed to doing so. And every time they miss, that runner's almost dead to rights at third base. And opposing...
The 1-1. The speed. Slow.
I was going to say that opposing third basemen are starting to creep in behind the runner at third. However, a good job there by Alexander to get that one down. And Avant, who, as you mentioned, is A, speedy, and B, was already on his way down the line, as he should with that squeeze play on. Was able to just duck his left hand over the tag of Mr. Casala behind the plate applying the tag. And the Kettleers score the 5th run of the game.
Scored a field. Doesn't get a base hit. As he bluffs towards second. Isn't going, and the first pitch fastball into toe. Missing inside. 1-0. Kinnaman moves up. Quintana and Riva. YD back up. Graham bluffs toward third. Alexander back. 5. The Kettleers threat. Tolia open. Trying to break. Making his sweet time. The UAB Blazer comes into Tolia.
Change up from a righty in on a left-handed hitter there. Don't often see that pitch, as if you leave it out over the plate with some lefty or with some good bat speed, the lefty will be able to usually deposit it over the right field wall. But I think it's a case of good pitch mixing there from Graham. And he got Tolia, who seems a bit lost at the plate now, to swing over the top of it.
Let's see if Tolia can drive in a run even more. The one. Casala glove and the right. It's 2-1. So Scott. Mike Roberts in. About 10 feet from third. Giving the signs to Tolia. 1.
As you mentioned, Will, it's a productive out for Michael Tolia, so he'll take it in his first RBI as a Cape Leaguer. But although I said he looks a bit lost at the plate right now, when he has made contact tonight, he's made really good contact. He lined out to straightaway center back in the second inning when the Kettleers had 2 on and 2 out. That ball in the second looked like it was going to get over the center fielder McKenna's head. That one he rifled down the right field side, and it looked like it was going to get out of the reach of Isbell, but some nice plays, the only thing holding Michael Tolia from 2 extra base hits tonight.
Make a great to the next strike 1. Just about 10 feet away. In the second inning of this one is the 0-1, another fastball, again taken by it's 0-2. And that time, if the speedy is back, may have fought for a double or even more. Alexander still the 0-2. And needs a play. It's 6-1. Cotuit on the Cotuit Kettleers. Back. David Inman finishing up his warm-up in May. Saw one of the most interesting occurrences that I think we'll see all season.
Yeah, Mike Roberts, because Thomas Dillard has officially come out of this game, had to be the catcher when John Martellini was putting his catcher's gear on. Of course, Martellini was in the on-deck circle was at the plate, when that bottom of the 6th inning came to an end. So Martellini had a lot of work to do. He wasn't set to go receive warm-up tosses from Inman, and so Mike Roberts took 3. He was pretty good on the first inside fastball, but then failed to get in front of a couple breaking balls, and I think after that he decided he'd had enough, and he gave way to Martellini, the rightful spot owner.
Luke you want to be with take the guy and is the one who misses high.
Still had to pick up the arm slot. You'd have
yeah, there's a lot. Not the high to seeing here on Cape Cod is the 2. Now 3-0. The play catching the 2 3.
Well, your baseball career is much more illustrious than mine, and that's really not saying much, but I assume you've squatted behind home plate before.
The 3-1. 3-2.
I've never even tried it. I have obviously gone out in the field as every young kid does growing up and fielded some grounders and taken some cuts, but I've always been hesitant to stand behind the plate with a real thrower on the mound.
The 3-2. About 10 feet to the left.
To make a real point out of this, my question is, am I rightfully hesitant, or is it as not as difficult as it looked?
It's a little with no just said bring it up. Usually you see the guy as the first pitch in a cut.
Let's put the chest protector.
At least put the protector. Usually put a mat. Coach. Fortunately, we're still playing. It's 0-2 now. Got, but it came without. He's 0 for 1. Back in. Here's the 0-2. Who's up? Throws to top. 5. For the scratch. Dom Dorenzo. Casala's hit into the for the first and second. The first pitch into Dorenzo. Spread. Dom Dorenzo. Just a one. The other. And it's 0-2. Just 73 miles. But my he's through the Cotuit. June 24th. New pitcher. It's the second. 6'3". He has quite his warm. So far this season for Henry, he did 2 wins. Came on June 20th against Brewster. He went jet and won. Again, the South. Dom Dorenzo for takes over, and we're just about here in the Gian Martellini, Griffin Cope. Here in the promise the. I'll get to that. After Martellini's back. Oh, a few. The first pitch in from Henry. Something I don't think I meant to more. Dillard was then pinch hit from Gian. And the Martellini walked and scored. The BC Eagle. It's 1-1. Other couple East Division. So on a and he's at with no other score. Of course, Boyd in a with 10 points. If you're not, you get 2 for as Kona and the first pitch. It's 1-1. 1-0. Where top 3 and Martellini. No appeal down. The count now 2-0. Kona and his man a prediction. 2 almost great. And the count now. Griffin, who came the number only the 3-0. It's 3-1.
Make it now 9 of 10 games that Griffin Conine has played as a Kettleer in which he's put in extra base hits, or put in multiple hits, excuse me.
The 3-1. That Gian Griffin Conine coasting up with Grayson Ginister. The other game
1, the only other game that he homered in prior to tonight.
So it's not like that. Kona in this season. Ginister
We've been up here for a summer and 10 games now, and I don't hesitate to say this, Will, and I anticipate your opinion. It's the best hitter I've seen in our time up here.
The who throws the so the Conine moves up to 7. Martellini to 3.
And I don't say that with any bias either, and I'm really trying to rack my brain for somebody that jumped out at me as automatically better or even as good, and I can't think of anyone on any of the 10 rosters over the last 2 years.
I think you're. Maybe we can look at all the rosters tonight last season to see if we're missing anyone as the infield comes in and the 3-hitter takes a first pitch curveball.
Where are we meeting?
Two and score. The it's 0-2 on John. Not that this Ginister's 6-game hitting streak coming in John of coming to an he's 0-1. As another pitch misses out. Wonder what you're thinking there with 2 in scoring position as time call. Wonder if a ball. But it does. Being through 2 clean innings on not a lot of pitches. Here's the kick and the delay. Cresto Jam. Want to remind it is brought to you by the beach. Is the perfect spot. A proud. Henry the second.
That ball ran in on the fists of John Cresto there, and he did a great job to inside out the swing, a theme that we've continued the last few nights on these Kettleers broadcasts, as Cotuit's really getting away from trying to pull everything. They're using all parts of the field, and it pays off there for Cresto, as that ball just snuck through the middle of the diamond, and with the infield drawn in, he gets 2 runs out of it.
The back. Another big. That's the third. The southpaw. Cresto moves up to 6. And Chandler up. 9. It's a really hot. Because Griffin. Or 10. The batter of back to the backstop. He was also hit. Now 2 for 7 as the again a breaking ball. And it's 0-2 on Chandler of trajectory. He's a guy was so season of that. He was a Brewster. Hit just 2. The 0-2 from Henry, a breaking ball. This is high. He then went back and had a pretty was injured in 2016 as the 1-2 breaking pitch of the remains 1-2. As you can see with all the season after your season is the year really show off your talent for the skip. Of course, every play as the 1-2 throws one. Fortunately for one. So his junior season hit 280. Expect as the 2-2. Fortunately, a spot. Imagine he'll go senior season and then here's the 3-2. The runner. Zach. He's it was Cotuit. So now 2 and
it brings up something that I think is prudent to think about, Will, that story that you just told about Chandler of Vaughan. And I was thinking this when we first saw Mickey Gasper. the Brewster catcher on that doubleheader on Sunday. We saw him again last night in Brewster.
First pitch into Kinnaman and 1-0.
And that is what you just said, that just because you don't come up to Cape Cod after your sophomore year, and just because you don't get drafted after your junior year, doesn't mean that your chances at a major league career, and even a good major league career, are totally out the window. As the 1-0 pitch catches the upstairs corner for a strike to Kinnaman, 1-1. Gasper hadn't really played his first 2 years at Bryant, and he kind of went to a summer league last year. I believe it was the Northwoods League, and took off. No, it was the Futures League, and took off.
The 1-1 into Kinnaman. Big swing and a miss, and another good breaking ball.
And there's really no reason to believe that Mickey Gasper, after this season at Bryant, and after what he's done so far up here on the Cape, won't be thought of just as highly as a prospect when the draft comes around again next year. You got to figure that's what Chandler Avant's banking on as well. It's just a clock that's delayed by a year. Now, maybe major league teams think of the year of control or the year of age, and that shies them away as the 1-2 pitch misses low and outside, 2-2. But I got to figure those kids, if they produce up here and if they continue to produce in their senior seasons, they're still in pretty good shape.
We see as the 2-2 misses out, 3-2 on Kinnaman. I think you just to experience the case. So you hate to look 2015 with the 3-2. So you're sorry, but he of course couldn't do that. A nice walk, who has reached base in all 4 plate appearances, and the base for Luca. I mean, and wanting to see more, fortunately for them, be able to see plenty from him. Should be playing almost used to hit with the bench, not all that deep from his first pitch into and found 1.
I guess a good way to put it is that the class, or the year in school, the class that delineates where these players are on their journey towards the major leagues, it's just a placeholder. It really doesn't mean anything if you don't want it to. You can treat guys like Avant and Gasper as if they're sophomores.
Oh, well.
I mean, sure, they're disappointed that they weren't drafted after their junior seasons, but all you got to do is put together one good one and impress a few scouts, get one team to like you or a few teams to like you, and you're still pretty well off.
The 2 short after a moved. Back in Cotuit. Cotuit trying to win their second straight. Here to take you the rest of the way, Matt Rigby.
All right, well, thank you very much. David Idman back onto the mound. 29 pitches deep into his outing so far tonight. He'll face the top of the YD order. Alex McKenna leading things off. The first pitch to McKenna misses low and in. 1 ball, and no strikes. McKenna, Horner, and Cortez. 1, 2, and 3, the 3 batters scheduled. Combined 1 for 8 tonight are those 3. And Nico Horner, the 1, was picked off his only time on base. So good job by Cotuit pitching tonight to maintain control over the entire YD order, but particularly the top of the order. The 1-0, smoke to the left center field gap, backing up Genista, looking up Genista, and that ball is off the wall. And cruising into second is McKenna with a leadoff double. Spoke too soon, I suppose, as Alex McKenna ends that 1 for 8 skid for the top third of the order with a double that he rifled to straightaway center for his first hit of the night.
Got to think the leash is pretty long, just around 30 pitches with the double tomorrow and an 8-1 ball game. We've seen Mike Roberts have a pretty short leash so far this season, but I would imagine that's been extended quite a 7-run lead in the 8th.
Here's Nico Horner now. Horner 1 for 3 with a runner on second. Watches the first pitch miss in, 1-0. Approaching the 7:30 mark on this Saturday evening in Cotuit, Massachusetts. 8-1 Kettleers lead the Red Sox. Inman bluffs to the plate and spins and ushers the runner at second, McKenna, back towards the bag. Infield playing back. And now the 1-0 to Horner. Lifted to straightaway left center, right center rather. Kinnaman gliding over, makes the catch in front of Genista. And tagging at second and moving to third is the runner McKenna, as it's a productive out. F7 off the bat of Nico Horner. That's F9 off the bat of Nico Horner. Going to get left and right together in the final 2 innings, Will. Here's Carlos Cortez. He's 0 for 3. Flew out to left, flew out to center, and grounded out to first in the first, fourth, and sixth innings, respectively. First pitch to Cortez. Lifted straight away left, moving over to his right, Kinnaman. He has it measured, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Tagging and scoring is McKenna without a relay throw. It's the second run of the game for YD, and it's now 8-2 on the RBI sac fly from Carlos Cortez.
You mentioned earlier you were a little surprised YD was working a lot of nice at-bats, working deep counts. I'd imagine we won't see too many deep counts in an 8-2 ball game down the stretch of this one. Red Sox kind of let go, swing away here in a 6-run deficit.
First pitch to Nico Quintana. Nick Quintana misses outside, 1-0. There's been only 5 pitches so far in this inning to score YD their 1 run. And the 6th pitch of the inning, a 1-0 breaking ball that skips low and into Quintana. And towards the YD on deck circle, it's 2-0. Quintana 0 for 3 tonight as well. Pair of flyouts to left and a strikeout swinging. The 2-0 pitch, tails low and outside. It's 3-0. Christian Demby up warming in the Cotuit pen, with just 4 outs left to attain on the mound for the Kettleers tonight. Wonder if the 9th will belong to him. For now, the 8th belongs to Inman, and the 3-0 is a fastball for a strike on the outside corner. It's 3-1. Quintana's had a bit of a tough luck 0 for 3 night. Lifted his 2 fly balls to deep straightaway left, but he got underneath both of them by just a bit. As the 3-1 misses inside ball 4, and they ultimately did those 2 foul balls, or fly balls. Ended up in just loud outs. He's on for the first time with a 2-out walk here, and now Kyle Isbell will come to the plate, but not before Mike Roberts pops out of the dugout, and I believe he's going to pull the hook on David Inman in this game. We'll wait just a second to make sure. Inman chatting with Roberts and the entire infield in advance of this Kyle Isbell at bat. Demby looks to be ready in the pen. And now Rudy Fernbach, who wants none of an elongated trip to the mound in an 8-2 game in the top of the 8th, will come out to break this one up for the Kettleers.
I think Coach Ryan cross an I or cross a T or dot an I in elementary school. He's a guy that clearly wants everything to be perfect out there. He wants his Kettleers team to protect this 6-run lead and win a second straight ball game.
He manages till the final out, and in doing so, he's going to lift David Inman from this game, and he is indeed going to bring in Christian Demby. We'll step aside. 8-2 Kettleers lead the Red Sox. 2 outs in the 8th and 1 runner on for Christian Demby on the other side of this break on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Kyle Isbell, the batter for YD. Christian Demby, the new pitcher for Cotuit. As we welcome you back to Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. Top of the 8th inning, 2 outs, and 1 runner on in an 8-2 game. 8-2 in favor of the Kettleers over the Red Sox here tonight. And the first pitch from Demby to Isbell is a fastball that misses just low at 91 miles an hour for ball 1. Two-way player Christian Demby onto the mound for the first time in a few days. Give you his Cape League numbers in just a second. The 1-0, grounded towards the right side, gets past the diving Tolia, backing him up Alexander, and a nice play covering all the way around there as Demby touches the bag and finishes off the top half of the 8th. Good job by Alexander moving to his left. Great job by Demby covering. And the YD top half of the 8th inning comes to an end. Red Sox do score once on the strength of 1 hit. They get a walk. No errors, then they leave 1 man on. We'll move to the 8-2 Kettleers on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Michael Tolia leads things off for Cotuit in the bottom of the 8th, still looking for his first hit as a Kettleer. He's 0 for 2 so far tonight. Did drive in his first run for Cotuit his last trip to the plate on a sac fly to straightaway right, and he takes the first pitch he sees from Henry for a strike, 0-1. Tolia officially 0 for 2 tonight, now officially 0 for 10 as a Kettleer. The 0-1 pitch, breaking ball spoiled foul, and he's quickly in a 0-2 hole. 8-2, Kettleers lead the Red Sox as we play here in the bottom of the 8th. Another fine offensive output tonight for the Kettleers. 0-2 pitch misses low, 1-2. 8 runs on 8 hits, no errors for Cotuit. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for YD. The keynote on tonight's game for the Kettleers, a great Griffin Conine. 3-run home run to right center field to get the scoring started in the bottom of the 5th. 2-1 pitch, or 1-2 pitch rather, tails up and away to Tolia, and it's quickly 2-2. Another great effort from the Kettleer bullpen. Again tonight as well. The 2-2, beaten to the ground foul, and Tolia stays alive. Last night the Kettleer bullpen went 7 2/3 innings in what was only an 8-inning game, and gave up just 2 runs. So far tonight they've gone 3 2/3 and have given up just 1 earned run. The 2-2 pitch to Tolia, smoke to the left center field gap, backing up into his right is McKenna. He makes a dive to make the catch. Tolia rounding first, he's going to cruise into second, and he's finally broken an 0 for 10 comeback as he picks up his first Kettleer hit with a leadoff double.
We mentioned it in his last where Michael Tolia was going to find grass out in the outfield and register his first hit. Didn't see too many great plate appearances in games 1 and 2 for Tolia, but he's hit 3 balls so far today. Just 1 hit to show for it. He does have an RBI as well, and he's at second with a leadoff double.
That'll bring up John Martellini. Martellini came into this game in the 5th inning, taking an at-bat for Thomas Dillard, who left with a hand injury, and Martellini swings at the first pitch, grounds it towards short. Kaiser checks the runner, and then fires on to first in time for out number 1. So Tolia stays put. So 1 pitch ground out for Martellini, and now the lineup card turns over for the aforementioned Griffin Conine. Conine's been on base 3 more times tonight. He's 2 for 3 with a ground out to second, a single, a 3-run home run that I noted earlier in this inning, and a walk his last time up in the 7th. First pitch to Conine. Fastball that misses low in a lefty-lefty matchup from the lefty Henry. And it's 1-0. I want to go back to that bullpen narrative in just a second, Will, and get your opinion on something. First the 0-1, or the 1-0 rather, to Conine, and that crowds him up and in 2-0 at 84 miles an hour. It's a Kettleers team that's seen a starter last 5 innings just 2 times this year. It's the 2 longest starts that the Kettleers have had all season long as we play in the 10th game of the year. 2-0 pitch, chopped foul by Conine, and it's 2-1. It's also a Kettleers team that saw 2 straight rainouts last weekend, which forced them into a 13 games in 11 days stretch, and also forced them into a 17 games in 18 days stretch. But it's a Kettleers bullpen, despite being taxed and despite being asked a lot of, that's really kept them in the game the last 2 nights, and you could argue has been the reason that they've won. 2-1, swing and a miss by Conine, and it's 2-2.
Just looking at the last 4 starts, Matt, including that 5-inning performance from Dylan King, starters have gone just 11 innings in those 4 starts combined and given up 11 runs for a 9.00, pretty easy to calculate earned run average. To your point, though, as I spew numbers out on the broadcast,
2-2 to Conine, rifled foul, and we'll do it again.
Every night it seems the leash not too long for the starters. Maybe that's a pitch count thing. Maybe that's a Mike Roberts manager thing. You figure at some point it's going to come back to bite the Kettleers, but this is a pitcher-heavy roster right now. Coach Roberts has constructed it so there are a lot of guys in that bullpen.
The 2-2, Conine waits on it and spoils it, foul again, out of play left side.
And they, unlike the starters at times, have come into baseball games and thrown strikes, which is really all you can ask when the starters do dig you somewhat nights. And sometimes don't throw too many strikes. Out of the bullpen, you got guys like Adam Scott, like Jace Van Senna, who just pound the strike zone and have been pretty successful.
Another 2-2. Conine grounds it towards second, moving over Horner. He scoops it up and fires to first for out number 2. Productive out there for Conine as Tolia moves up 90 feet to third. Just 2 walks for that bullpen tonight for the Kettleers to build onto your point, Will. And last night, again, in 7 2/3 innings, after the starter for Cotuit, Brian Rapp, had walked 3 batters through the first 6 hitters to come to the plate for Brewster, in 7 2/3 innings, the Kettleers bullpen surrendered just 1 walk last night. First pitch to Grayson Genista is a strike on the inside corner, 0-1. You and I got into some conversations last summer about how hard it is to patch together victories when you're using 5 or 6 pitchers a night. The 0-1 to Genista, big cut and a miss, and it's 0-2. The reason that I think you correctly hypothesized throughout the summer is that you're asking not one guy or not 2 or 3, but 6 different guys to be on top of their game on the same given night. The 0-2 to Genista, smoked foul up the first base side, and we'll do it once more. Obviously, the more you add to that equation from a pitcher's standpoint, the more likelihood you have of one guy being a little bit off his game. The last 2 nights, that just hasn't been the case for Cotuit. Every guy out of the pen has been effective. The 0-2, Genista loops one into shallow center. That'll get down for a base hit, and it's 9-2 Kettleers as Tolia comes in to score. So a nice piece of hitting by Grayson Genista in a 2-strike count. He just deposits that 1-2 or that 0-2 changeup from the lefty Henry in front of the center fielder McKenna. For Grayson, it's RBI, let me check this here. Gotta find the Jays, Will. RBI number 4 on the season as he runs on the first pitch to Cresto, and it's fouled back off the screen, 0-1.
Grayson also extends his hitting streak to 7 games. I mentioned last time Cotuit was at the plate when Grayson laid down a sacrifice bunt that hitting streak might be coming to an end, but the 7th inning saw 7 batters come to the plate for Cotuit, and Genista, the beneficiary, gets a 2-out plate appearance and extends, again, that hitting streak to 7 games.
The 0-1 pitch, grounded towards the right side. That'll get through into right field for a base hit. John Cresto stays hot, his 3rd straight single in as many plate appearances. 3rd single in 3 innings for John Cresto as he builds himself a 2nd consecutive 3-for-5 night. And there are 2 on with 2 outs for Zach Cohn.
This Cotuit lineup, Matt, is quickly becoming one of the best in the entire Cape League, especially 1 through 4, maybe 1 through 5 on some nights as well. Conine, Genista, Cresto, and Cohn is your top 4. I mean, that truly might be the best top 4 in the entire league.
Cohn chops one foul behind the plate, and it's 0-1.
All high average guys that hit for extra bases as well, guys that so far have worked really nice at-bats through 10-plus games. 10 games flat, actually. 9-plus, with this being the 10th. I mean, it's a formidable top 4 for Cotuit.
A 1 pitch misses inside to Zach Cohn, and it's 1-1. The 1 through 4 that you just mentioned went 8 for 18 last night. Trying to do some quick math here in between pitches to see what they are tonight. The 1-1 to Cohn. Chopped foul towards third. No, fair ball. And picking it up is Quintana as he steps on the bag. Foul ball. It was right all the way. So we'll do the 1-2 over.
I'll let you add up there, Matt. Another guy that you don't even include in that top 4 is Brett Kinnaman, who is maybe not so quietly heating up before our eyes the last 3 nights. Chandler Avant showing some skill. Luke Alexander showing some stuff. Tolia's heating up, it appears. Gian Martellini, reliable. I mean, you hate to limit it to 1 through 4. Those are the 4 guys at the top who have had the most glaring offensive success so far. But 1 through 9, this lineup quickly becoming one of the most formidable in the league, I think.
1-2. Cohn chops it towards short. High second hop for Kaiser. He picks it up and goes the short way for the force at second. I did do some adding, Will. Last night, the 1 through 4 hitters, 8 for 18. Tonight, now 7 for 18. 15 for 36 the last 2 nights, and that's why the Kettleers have another 9-2 lead. Cotuit gets 1 run in the bottom on a Grayson Genista RBI single. They get 3 hits in the inning overall, no errors, and they leave a pair. We'll move to the top of the 9th, looking for the final 3 outs on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Christian Demby back onto the mound looking for what will ultimately be the final 4 outs of tonight's ball game. After he came on with 2 out in the 8th in relief of David Inman. It should be pretty easy to get these final 3 outs, I would think, for Christian Demby. Maybe not. Nothing's ever easy, but we'd have a story on our hands if he doesn't. It's a 9-2 game, and the first pitch of the top of the 9th is a foul ball from Alfonso Rivas towards the left side, 0-1. 9 runs on 11 hits, no errors for Cotuit. 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors for YD. Rivas, Miller, and Kaiser, left, right, right. 6, 7, and 8, the 3 due up for YD. The 0-1 to Rivas, breaking ball, he waits on it, loops it, reaching up and behind his ear to make the catch for out number 1. That ball was almost past Zach Cohn. He had to make a hurdle and then had to put his glove in the perfect spot to make the catch. He does so, and he continues to sparkle at short defensively this year, despite some scouting reports to the contrary coming into this season, as there's 1 away for Luke Miller. Actually going to get a pinch hitter now. Standing in for YD is Jonah Davis, and Davis takes the first pitch up and away, 1-0. So Davis pinch hitting for Miller in the 7 hole. It's the designated hitter spot in the lineup. As the 1-0's grounded towards second. Alexander to his left, picks it up and fires to first, 2 away. I want to remind you that the Cape Cod Baseball League is brought to you by Cape Cod Healthcare. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent care. Christian Cox will be the new batter for YD, as he will pinch hit just as Jonah Davis did the batter before him. And the first pitch to Cox is a looping foul, or a looping fly ball towards right field. Coming in Conine, calls everyone off and makes the catch. Ball game over. 9-2, Cotuit defeats YD. 9 runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Kettleers. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Red Sox. The 3-game YD winning streak comes to an end, and the 1-game Cotuit winning streak pushes to 2. Cotuit goes to 6-4. YD falls to 6-1. We'll give you the winning pitcher, the losing pitcher, and a look at the box score on the other side on the Cotuit Kettleers post-game show. We'll also have Will Greer with what we learned tonight, presented by Curry College, so stick around for that. We'll step aside very briefly and then come back on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Hey, Cotuit serenades us at Lowell Park as we come back on a happy post-game show on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Happy because for the first time in a few tries at home, the Kettleers are back on the winning side at Lowell Park. They take a 9-2 contest over the YD Red Sox tonight, avenging a 5-3 loss a couple nights ago at Red Wilson Field. Matt Rigby and Will Greer with you on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. 9 runs, 11 hits, no errors for Cotuit. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for YD. Time in the game, 2 hours and 46 minutes. John Rooney is the losing pitcher for the Red Sox as the member of the Hofstra Pride baseball team falls to 0-1. And Jace Van Senna is the winning pitcher for Cotuit as he pushes into what is now a 5-way tie for the Cape League lead in wins with his Cotuit teammate, Zane Collins. Jace Van Senna is now 2-0. Van Senna, really you could say, is the player of the game tonight. In fact, if you're okay with it, Will Greer, I'll go ahead and give Jace Van Senna our player of the game on the post-game show, because Jace Van Senna, despite pitching just 1 inning on the mound, did something that won't show up in the score box tomorrow, or in the box score tomorrow, and that is he extricated himself very nicely from what was at the time in the top of the 5th, a bases-loaded, nobody-out jam that Noah Davis had worked his way into. Van Senna walked the first batter he faced to make it 1-0 Red Sox at the time. But then Van Senna got a 1-2-3 ground ball double play off the bat of Mike Casala. He hit a batter in the form of Alex McKenna, but then got Nico Horner to pop out to first in foul ground to ultimately end that 5th inning, align himself for the win, and set Cotuit up for what was a 3-run bottom of the 5th for the Kettleers. That 3-run bottom of the 5th that pushed Cotuit immediately in front was highlighted by a 3-run home run off the bat of Griffin Conine. Griffin Conine continues to rake for the Kettleers. He might look like the best hitter that Cotuit has to offer. In fact, he might look like the best Cape League hitter on any team this summer so far. Conine with another multi-hit game. He reaches base 3 times, had a single in the 3rd, that 3-run homer in the 5th, and a walk and a run scored in the 7th. He's now hit in all 10 Kettleers games he's played in this season, and he's really been setting the tone for the top of the Kettleers order each of the last 2 games. The Kettleers top 4 in the batting order each of the last 2 games, 15 for 36. That's how you score 21 runs in a 2-game span. Tonight, the Kettleers' top 4 in the order was 7 for 18 after going 8 for 18 last night. Conine was good. John Cresto was good again. He had 3 more base hits and 2 more driven in. Zach Cohn had another base hit, and Grayson Genista had another base hit as well. Cotuit continued to get to the YD starter, John Rooney. Rooney had a little bit of an unfair final line. He pitched pretty well tonight, better than the final line indicates. He ultimately goes 5 1/3 innings, gives up 5 hits, but ultimately gives up 6 runs. They were all earned, striking out 4 and walking 3. You could make the case that Scott Pickler, the YD manager, left Rooney in just a bit too long, and that's what allows Rooney to see his ERA balloon just a bit. Mr. Henry, the other reliever who was touched up a bit tonight for YD, he goes 2 innings of relief on the mound, gives up 6 hits, and the final 3 runs of the game, they were all earned, 2 walks and 1 strikeout, and Tanner Graham goes 2/3 of an inning for YD with nothing else on his ledger. David Inman was really good, albeit in a laugher out of the pen in his Kettleers debut. He goes 2 2/3, gives up 2 hits and just 1 run that was earned, 2 strikeouts and a walk for Inman. And Christian Demby puts the exclamation point on it for Cotuit tonight, going an inning and a 1/3 of scoreless and hitless baseball. We'll stay. We'll have what we learned tonight presented by Curry College on the other side of the break. Once again, Cotuit beats YD 9-2 tonight in 2 hours and 46 minutes on a beautiful Saturday night from Lowell Park. You've been listening to the Cotuit Kettleers postgame show on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network.
YD. 4 strikeouts. The Georgia Southern, and he'll be making his second start of the summer with the Orleans Firebirds. Again, the Southpaw 6'6", 190 pounds, 1-0 so far, a 5.78 ERA in one start. He only went 4 2/3 innings, so I'm a little confused here on the Cotuit Kettleers post-game show as to how Daniel Lynch did record the win, only going 4 2/3. That game at Falmouth, so it was not light shortened, but Daniel Lynch is 1-0 on the season. And in his sophomore season at UVA, a 5 flat ERA for Lynch, a 7-5 record, 14 starts, 86 hits allowed in 77 1/3 innings. So 3 Southpaws out of the 4 probable starters, 2 for Orleans, 1 for Cotuit. Again, the starting pitching matchups, Rollison versus Hooper in Game 1, Ole Miss versus UCLA in that one, and then UVA versus Georgia Southern, Daniel Lynch versus Seth Schumann. Those are the 4 starting pitching probables for tomorrow's doubleheader at Orleans.
All right, well, thank you very much. By my count, we have 19 hours to sort through that confusion and figure out why that win was awarded.
I'll call the Cape League office first thing when I get home, Matt.
Sounds good to me. 14 scheduled innings of baseball tomorrow in Orleans. Last time we had 14 scheduled innings, it was this last Sunday at Lowell Park. We ended up playing 15. Fingers crossed on that one. 5 straight games without lights, Will Greer. And the second leg of the doubleheader at Orleans tomorrow night, we'll probably have some lights on. It'll be nice for a little bit of a change-up.
Quickly, if I can butt in here quickly, Matt, you just gave us the answer. No call to the Cape League office needed. That win for Lynch was in Game 1 of the doubleheader last week at Falmouth. So a 7-inning game, you only go 4 2/3 in line for the win, and that's why Lynch is 1-0. Thanks for saving me a phone call there.
We only needed 1 minute of the 19 allotted hours, I suppose. On behalf of Will Greer and on behalf of the entire Cotuit Kettleers video production staff and the entire Cotuit Kettleers organization, my name one more time is Matt Rigby, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in one final time to a 9-2 Kettleers victory, their second in a row as they take care of the YD Red Sox. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow from Eldridge Park.